Hey folks, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now, before we get started, I just want to preface with the fact that we're going to take a look at Burger, and my subscribers have asked me time and time again to go ahead and cover this. I do appreciate you reaching out and letting me know. So sorry for the delay. But just know if you are new to the channel, we always cover just strictly technical data. There's no fundamentals here. I recommend you always do your own research, of course, because there's two sides to every trade, and it's important to know what you're getting into. That being said, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only, and there is a link in the description below for our Telegram community if you'd like to get engaged in communication with the group. We all learn and grow together. There's also $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager, as well as a link to our Patreon account. So please feel free to reference that at your convenience. But for now, let's go ahead and get right to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Burger. And I don't know why, but the word burger makes me laugh. Has anyone else experienced that? Just say it out loud, burger. Anyways, that's besides the point. Let's go ahead and take a look at Burger. And all jokes aside, we're also going to take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just so you can kind of get perspective on, what's going on in the market too, because those really make a big difference and a big impact on what's going on with all the currencies we trade, right? So let's look at Bitcoin first, and then we'll transition over to Burger and see what's going on. But this is Bitcoin, and first of all, I always look at the 4-hour chart because the moving averages are the best, in my opinion. The 100, 200, and 50-day moving averages all work, as very strong and reliable support and resistance lines. So case in point here, if you take a look at this yellow line here, that's the 50-day moving average. As you can see, it worked as a support level there, lost support, broke through, and then worked as a support level again recently and bounced off. So 50-day moving average appears to be a pretty good support. And what's nice is the 50-day moving average is intersecting with the 100-day moving average. Correction, that's the 200-day moving average. That's this purple line here. And what that is a good sign, because anytime two moving averages work concurrently, they intersect essentially at one place. It works as like kind of a double support or resistance depending on where the price is at. Price action being above, that's a very good sign. So we like this. This is good. What's also great is, of course, it's above 57,000 now. So that was kind of like the position that we need it to be in. Of course, it hasn't remained above for anything. I mean, it's only been 12, 16 hours in that range there. So honestly, we want it to stay above this line for at least another day or two, and then hopefully continue upwards, right? That's the goal. So just keep in mind, Bitcoin is still figuring itself out. I don't know why it decides it wants to do these peaks and valleys right now, but that's what's going on. So just keep that in mind. Moving on to Ethereum. Let's take a look at this guy here. Kind of more consolidation, you could say. So ever since Bitcoin recently decided it wanted to slow momentum and sell off major, Ethereum did the same thing, because anytime Bitcoin sells off, they jump ship and go over to Ethereum, right? But then when Bitcoin decides it wants to recover, things get a little muddled. So if we see this Christmas pattern here, the red, green, red, green, red, green, it's just kind of indecision essentially based on Bitcoin being so, I don't know, cranky. I don't know how to describe it, but now that Bitcoin's kind of leveled out, right, in the last 16 hours, you can see this here as well. The consolidation channel is a little bit higher. So we might see a breakout in the near future here, because there is a bit of an upward wedge, you could say, here that's forming. And oftentimes they work themselves into a small consolidation and break out in upward fashion. So I wouldn't be surprised that happens. But we're not here to evaluate Ethereum. We're here to look at Burger. So let's take a look at that. And looking at Burger here first, we want to take a look at the one-day chart. So if you're new here, we always look at the one-day chart, 4-hour chart, 15-minute, 1 minute. We'll work our way down essentially so we understand what's going on. Now the Burgers, sorry, you got to deal with me. I'm going to be laughing this whole time. But Burger is kind of new. Again, this is Binance, right? So when it really opened with a vengeance in the first 3 days of trading. It's been selling off ever since. No surprise there, because it hit its all-time high of what, $29 when it opened at what, somewhere in the range of $8, right? So that's a pretty significant increase in just 4 days of trading. That being said, this is a one-day chart. Not a lot of data to kind of extract from what we see here, except for the fact that we see two solid, green days, so to speak. So it does appear that things are progressing positively in the overall sense of the word. So, I know a lot of my subscribers, Telegram folks, that were asking, hey, I invested at $20, $25. Should I be worried? Well, hopefully we can answer that question here today and see if there's possibility of this turning around. Okay, but good news is 2 solid green days on the 1-day chart. That's a good sign of a momentum shift. If the MACD was available, then we'd probably see a shift in bullish sentiment, which is a good sign. All right, so rest assured for now, it looks pretty good. Now, this isn't like phenomenal green bars that we're looking for, right? But it is a start. And keep in mind that second green bar that we saw recently started too, so it very well could close red. It doesn't mean we're out of the the woods yet, if that term makes sense for you. But I can tell you that there's definitely some type of it feels like it's hit a support level, which actually I kind of see one right there. Why don't we mark that really quick? Look at that, it hit twice recently, and it was a previous resistance. It resisted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 times. So let's go ahead and do that. I gotta work from this side over. So it doesn't let me go that far. So right there, okay. So that's essentially a support level. So it's a good sign. I feel like we did find our bottom, so to speak. Because again, now that it broke a resistance after testing it 5, 6 times in a row, it became a support level, but a stronger support. See, the more often a resistance line is tested and then broken, the stronger it becomes as a support once it's broken. So just keep that in mind, that this should likely work and hold as a strong support for at least a few more times. If it were to come down and test again, it would likely be the bottom. It's not a guarantee, but it's more likely than not that we'll see that, if it comes down to that, okay? So other things that are good here, what I see on the 4-hour chart, and this is obviously a good sign. Anytime you see the MACD, this green line swinging in an upward fashion to cross over, that essentially tells us that the momentum is shifting. So it went from bearish to bullish momentum essentially, right? So that's where the MACD is beneficial, to be able to understand kind of the overall sentiment of what's going on. That's kind of just a layman's terms of what that looks like. So that's a good sign. It basically just means that we do have that shift in momentum towards bullish sentiment. So we should likely see a fairly consistent increase. Again, there's a lot of other things that need to happen. There's some resistance lines we ought to worry about, but generally speaking, that's a good sign there, just looking at the one indicator. With the RSI, also a good sign. It's neither oversold or overbought. So at this point, if the price, just say this price spikes up a little bit further, it'll probably still likely stay under 70. And in my opinion, an RSI under 70 is a very, very good thing. And if we can continue to see higher highs, just slowly higher highs, it doesn't need to spike up like it did before. If we keep seeing higher highs and the RSI stays below 70 the whole time, then we should be able to see this price just come right back to where it was at least halfway between here and the all-time high. All right, so let's move on. Oh wait, sorry, let me turn on the indicators so you can see. Oh wait, never mind, there's no indicators. The reason why there is no indicators, by the way, there's not enough data to see a 150 or 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. We'll probably have an opportunity to see that on the 15-minute chart, so we'll use those instead. But generally speaking, not much else to use here. Oh wait, we can do one more thing. Let's look at the resistance lines, and let's go ahead and mark that, because we can see right there that was touched 3 times. Previous 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's a pretty strong one right here. So let's go ahead and mark this guy as well. And the reason why I marked that is because you see, look right here, support, 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 broken, resistance, 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 resist, resist, resist. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's resisted 7 times. Now 7 times is a lot, right? So it's very likely that the price comes up again to test this resistance level. It'll break and stay above and essentially create itself as a very strong support level. Opposite of what it did down here, right? So even though it's channeling itself into this little valley between 1320 and just say 1854, then we're actually looking pretty good. It's really not a bad thing to see it in this channel. And the fact that it's tested this a few times tells me it will likely break soon. So the next time it tests this resistance level, it'll probably push through really quick, similar to what you saw back here, right? So just keep that in mind. That's how support and resistance lines works. So that's generally the concept there. Let's move on to the 15-minute chart. and kind of see what we can find here. So obviously our moving averages are here, but I don't put a lot of weight into the moving averages on the 15-minute chart. My preferred method of a moving average that's consistent, that works as a support and resistance line, is the volume weighted average price. So if you're new to the channel, volume weighted average price is my favorite indicator, and the reason why is because it's very reliable in the sense that it gives you an average volume of the last 24 hours as a price, and it works as a support and resistance line that's continuous with the price volume. So if you see right here, we got a VWAP line right around 1629. So I'm willing to bet if we go to the 1 minute chart, it probably bounced off of it. There you go. Yeah, see, it's bouncing off, holding above VWAP. And the only thing it needs to do is come above the 50-day moving average. Because honestly, the 200 and 100-day moving averages, we don't even bother with those under the 4-hour chart. Personally, I don't think they work extremely well. 50-day moving average and below is ideal for 1 minute chart here. So once the price breaks above that 50-day moving average, probably be in pretty good shape. Anyways, back to the 15-minute chart, just to kind of help you identify kind of what's going on here. First of all, we've got, I wouldn't say super low volume from before, but now the volume's starting to pick up a little bit. This is a good sign. We're seeing some price action. RSI is below 70, which again, not a super big indicator on the 15-minute chart because of the fact that it hasn't broken above, right? So if this breaks above, you want to be cautious and careful to take entry because it could likely come back down. So let me just give you an example here. I try to show this in all of my videos, so I apologize if I'm a broken record and you've heard this before, but maybe it's a good learning tool for you if you haven't remembered yet. But anytime you see an RSI over 70 on the 15-minute chart, it really tells us what the what's going on with the overall sentiment. So the RSI tells us what the relative strength is, right? So if the relative strength is too high, again over 70, that's usually the threshold, then there's commonly going to be some type of retracement or a sell-off afterwards, okay? So when we see that happen, here, for example, price jumped all the way up to its all-time high. Oh, sorry, that's not an all-time high. That's a recent high of 1985. We'll just say $20. It hit 20 roughly, okay? Now when it did that, there had to be a retracement because the price was so overextended, it was considered extremely overbought, the price had to come back down. Another thing to identify too is the volume weighted average price. Take a look at this difference. The volume weighted average price, right at this point where it's maxed out on its peak, it was at $15.31, upwards of $20. So that was almost a 30% difference in price from what the average volume price should be. That is way too high. That's another reason why the price retraced back down after that. So again, it doesn't matter right now specifically because we're not seeing that kind of price action. So that's why I like to see higher highs happen with short periods of consolidation, so that way the average price, they can find its average true range and it can consistently increase with the volume weighted average price. So in this case here, I would love to see the price continue up slowly, not like it's been doing, because it will eventually peak out and jump too high above the VWAP line. But what's nice is the volume weighted average price is really close to the current price action, so we've got plenty of room for movement here. So even if the price does hike up and jump all the way up to this line here and break above, then you'll be in good shape to likely continue to add to your investment and see the price continue to increase. Again, that's strictly just the technical aspect of what we're looking at here. Things can change, of course, when you get there, and you always want to wait for confirmation too. So let me just throw that out there here as well. So my plan for this, if I were to trade this right now, just say it's a short-term swing trade, and I'm not just taking a little off the top as a day trader. I'm short-term swing trading under 24 hours, trying to get to a goal of just say 10%. So if I want a 10% gain, right, it's going to be somewhere in this range. This is about a 10% gain. So it may not seem like a lot, but that's actually a lot of ground to cover. But what we want to do is we want to wait for this thing here, in other words the price where it's at right now, for it to test and stay above this volume weighted average price for no less than 30 minutes. I teach this in all my videos because it works really well for me. Some people don't like that because you do miss out on opportunities in cryptocurrency because of the fact that crypto moves so fast, right? So I'm more of a conservative trader, so that's just always worked well for me, or at least in the last few years it's worked much better than being a risky trader. So I'm more risk averse, so I wait for confirmation that's longer. So I wait for 30 minutes. Say for example we see another green bar close. Then that would tell me that I would likely want to consider adding to my position or taking a position And what I would do is I'd take a 20 to 30% position, just say, not a ton, because I don't like to go all in until I discover that I have more, compounding factors that are swinging in my favor. So the first entry point, I usually only take about between 15 to 30% as a rough estimate. So if I'm starting with $1,000 and I'm leveraging that, then what I want to do is put in 150 to 300, right? Once I get confirmation I do something like that, I would set my goal to 10%. So just say I take entry, just say above VWAP, this closes right in this range here, then my goal would be to try to hit this resistance line. Now that might be a little lofty because a lot of times the resistance lines can work as a strong resistance, of course, and the price might bounce off of that. So what I'd likely do in that case, if I got halfway to my goal, I'd probably trim my earnings. I'd take half my position out. And if I got closer to that top level there and the actual price action continues above and stays above for another 30 minutes, and the RSI is under 70 still, then I would consider adding to my position because it would likely have enough momentum to continue. Anyways, that's kind of just how I would approach this here personally. My projection for Burger is the price will eventually recover. I can't tell you specifically, by month end it's going to be at its all-time high and past that. I don't know that, but I can tell you right now that there's a lot of potential here, and the volume has increased a lot recently, and that's a pretty good sign, right? Because as you see, with all this volume here, it had to go somewhere. So there's no surprise that it was just continuing to sell off. And I'll tell you what, in crypto, anytime you see a price increase like this, Ethereum Classic, for example, where the price jumps up so fast for so long, it has to sell off. It's just kind of the natural law of trading. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of a big understanding, something to really kind of grasp. And then also try to just remember to be cautious. Wait for confirmation if you're going to take entry. Don't try to chase the bottom. Don't buy the dip unless it's bouncing off support and you get confirmation from that. Yeah. Again, I probably make this sound easier than it is, and of course it's not always perfect. I know that, but I'm more of a successful trader now than I ever was before because I have a structure and I have something in place to make sure that I'm careful, right? So I have like a short list of things that I check off my mental list before I take entry. And if you can do something like that yourself, you'd be in much better shape. Okay. And I'm speaking to everyone, of course, but also those who might have taken too high of an entry on Burger when they first got in, right? Because you join the hype train, you get excited, it happens, it's normal. I still do it from time to time. But wait for things to calm down, because what goes up must come down. And also bear in mind, patterns have a tendency of repeating themselves. So there is a strong likelihood that this pattern could occur again later. Maybe not as severe and as extreme, but perhaps. So either way, what we're looking at right now is to get through this major resistance line and then consider adding to your position and or just ensure that you wait for confirmation above and beyond the VWAP for no less than 30 minutes. While also ensuring that the RSI isn't over 70, okay? So if we get confirmation here, we just say we get double confirmation, the RSI is over 70, might not be the best entry point, okay? Again, just little stuff you want to know and kind of think about. So hopefully you found this beneficial. I apologize that it did take me a little while to get this out. I'll try to be more consistent with this one because I know that a lot of people had invested quite a lot in the initial few days and they're kind of getting a little scared right now. So I would just say not to worry too much. The numbers look good here. It's still discovering its true range, its true price, which is why you see this channel right now. But once it has a breakout, there's likelihood of it going on another tear. Will it hit this all-time high anytime soon? Probably not. It'll probably hit its all-time high and test and reject eventually, maybe within the next few months. Again, I don't know for sure, but based on what I see so far, the price got too high too quick, and it makes perfect sense why it's where it's at right now. So again, if you found benefit, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and we'll just see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.